Cohh put out one a couple hours ago. I was gonna start with his. Let's see. Should you try Dune Awakening? Let me see. Yeah, we didn't have the worm look at us like that. That's actually crazy. What the fuck? Is it glitched? Like, I thought we made it mad at the end.
That is so cool.
I don't know. He must have done something crazy, but it did not
Dune
look
Awakening
at us like
is
that.
A new survival game based in the Dune universe from Funcom. Now, I personally have a lot of experience with Funcom since the Anarchy Online days. Dude, I had a great time in AO. That game was janky, but it was trying to do. Let me put it this way: Anarchy Online, which was an old school MMO, tried to do things that MMOs these days don't do because of how difficult it can be. And this is like a 20-plus-year-old MMO, and it tried its damnedest to do it. Like, it tried. It was a technical mess because it was trying to do things that, frankly, the world wasn't ready for. So my initial plan was to let the game come out, probably let it have a little bit of cook time, as Funcom definitely generally needs a little bit of cook time, and then give it a try and see if I like it. This is really pissing me off that I can't block.
Wait, was that the grenade?
There it goes. Okay, I just switched weapons. It was bugged.
And he got fucked.
Oh, Funcom, never changed, dude. I did like Conan Exiles, so I assumed that Dune Awakening was going to be like Conan Exiles, but in the Dune universe. So I was expecting a relatively basic survival game with some Dune wrapping paper around it to make me feel like I'm in that universe. What I didn't expect is how much Dune is in this game. So far, there's a lot of Dune in this game, which is great, because to put it bluntly, there wasn't a lot of Conan.
What does it mean by that? Like the lore?
So this feels much more like I'm in the world. Like we talked to an NPC that had really nothing to say outside of just a bunch of cool Dune lore. And I'm totally about that. Like, that's awesome. So yeah.
That's the thing, like I told you, I never watched any of the movies. Are there shows for Dune? Are there shows for Dune? Or is it just the movies? It's just, what is it, 2 movies? That's it, ever. Oh, okay, book series, yeah, all right. I was gonna say there, okay.
Yeah.
That part I'm really feeling so far. As somebody who is, as somebody who's read the books and the first
Oh, okay, well, there they go.
and really enjoyed it, that has been a pleasant surprise.
How old are the
I kind of
books?
slept on this game a little bit because I thought it was going to be
They're pretty old.
just kind of like a basic survival game with some light Dune stuff. But I mean, so far it's been way more Dune than I was anticipating.
I have
in
them.
a great way.
Never read them.
Really appreciate how much there is. One of the first NPCs I talked to just had a whole bunch of stuff to say that had nothing to do with what I was doing, except it was Dune lore, which I really liked.
Yeah, this guy.
Whoa.
The prophecy man.
Let us speak of our escape.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't really have shit to say.
Oh,
I like
yeah,
the
he
sound
did. He
of
had
that
mad shit.
I mean, that's important.
Yeah, it was like an introduction to the lore.
Heralds interesting times off-world.
Also, I'm liking the voice acting so far too. Who are you?
All right.
Is this what you wish? To waste time in idle chatter?
Rude.
Your first lesson on Arrakis, then. Every exhalation is a waste of water.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah, that really lets you know how important the water is and how many times you would run out of water within the first, 3 hours of playing the game. You'd dehydrate,
Yeah.
be crippled
no shit.
over, hovering over plants, looking for plants in every corner that you can find. Oh my god.
Name yourself and we can move on. Everywhere I go, there's been like voice acted little dialogue stuff. We're currently in kind of a side mission area, or maybe a main mission area that is super immersive. We're like in a lab.
Bro, his glasses are tripping me out. Look, like when he
tell you-
angles the right way, it's like his ear disappears because of his green screen, and it's tripping me the fuck out. Like, wait, boom, gone. Oh, there it is. But glasses gone. What the hell?
That is super immersive. We're like in a lab. Dude, if there's a lot more stuff like this in the game, then I want to explore like probably most of this game. Yeah. I really hope that they lean into this.
Yeah, the dungeons were different. Like the 3 that we went to, the 3 blue ones, They were at least different. They weren't, there wasn't a lot of copy and paste in each of those, which was good. So I hope that the late game ones are the same way. I hope that the late game ones really don't have a lot of copy and paste, because the first ones were, I was happy with how they were. And they each had like the little interact things around the entire bases that, you know, gave you a lot of the lore too for each place individually. And it's like the things match that. Like that last one we went to where they had all the minerals and stuff. It was all about like how they, what they were doing though, leading up to like that last moment of the war breaking out. But it matched that place. Wait, did you do the one with me where they had the big water tower at the end of it? The dude with the flamethrower?
Yeah.
You did the one with the flamethrower?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you did it by yourself, and then you did it with me too.
Yeah. Okay.
The short of it is that in Conan Exiles, I really felt like the Conan part was kind of a side thing. Like it was pretty much just a regular survival game in a Conan shell.
Played.
But Dune Awakening does feel like a Dune game. And as a Dune fan, it feels a lot more like that than I was expecting. And so far, I've been really enjoying it. I hope that it kind of stays this interesting throughout the whole thing. I've also done a little bit of building. The building felt good. Also had some great QOL features, like you can put...
The building was pretty solid.
The building is fucking awesome.
There wasn't that much trouble with the rooftops, which is always a problem in games. The interface, outer face thing is cool. I just wish it didn't say interface as large as it does. I wish it would kind of like just give like a symbol or something. And not as though it really matters, but it just seems like, oh, here you go, retards. Figure. This is how it's supposed to be.
Basically, that's what it is. People are stupid.
Yeah, no, the building was good.
Stuff in a crafted container, and then whenever you go to use your crafting stations.
Biggest thing? The weight. Weight wasn't really a problem running around. I feel like we could get a lot of stuff. And
only thing I would like is to have a bigger backpack.
Yeah.
Or like to be able to craft one, rather.
I would like to be able to upgrade it for sure. But even so, the default weight that we had the entire beta, I wasn't complaining about weight. And I complain about weight very easily. The only time you're going to run into weight issues, it seems like, is if you were running around collecting a lot of ore. When we did that, we were just close to the base and bringing it right back.
Yeah, it's easy to get and easy to go back and get more.
Yeah.
Already in the stations, super handy. Same with some building components as well. So overall, definitely surpassed my expectations. Now, getting to the last part of this.
The bad
now that
stuff.
I've spoken about all the glowing parts, we gotta talk about the other parts. This is a traditional janky Funcom game. What that means is the combat a little rough around the edges. Would not call it toy toy. It definitely has some animation lock issues. It's got some melee lock issues. Characters swing at air a lot of times. So,
yeah, most of the time.
You know, I'd say the combat is probably one of the weakest parts.
Bro, I said with the sword, I've heard people say like a lock-on system would be good, but
I really thought there was gonna be a lock-on system for melee. I really did.
Yeah, but even if they didn't have a lock-on system, what they could have done is just like a soft aim assist with the sword, like other games do. Not a complete lock-on where you're like pressing, you know, like Elden Ring, you know what I mean? Where you're literally camera shifting with that character. No, but you could do. I mean, I swing my sword.
I did feel a soft assist on that. Yeah, I did.
When you swung the sword, really?
Yeah.
I feel like I was whiffing, dude. I was like I felt like I was just learning combat in the Middle Ages. Okay, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just swinging my sword hoping it hit somebody, but it missed half the time. I thought the shooting was nice though. When you hit headshots, the shields is the biggest problem. The shields is the biggest problem. The shields need to either be visible, like how much it is, like a Destiny shield, and that you're actually making those shots and hitting. Because even if it is late game guns that actually impact the shields a lot more than the early game guns, I would like to know how much of the shield I'm taking off. I would like to know if I'm shooting this enemy and it's doing nothing to his shield. I would like to know that. And I know this is not going to be implemented within a month, to be honest, but down the line,
for
I would
me,
like to
it's
see
more
that
so.
That'd be cool.
Even though it's part of the lore, I think at least in the PvE or PvP regard, not PvE, because like that just can make you play more melee. But for PvP, I think the shields should take more damage to firearms.
In a general sense, they definitely should take more damage to firearms. But that's what I mean, though. I feel like there might be late game guns that actually do that, and it's just the early game guns that aren't. because Shroud was using in that special test that they had, he was using some different gun, and it seemed to be ripping through shields. And look at the turret on Mentat. The Mentat turret would stun lock them and break through the shields pretty quick. So that was kind of my workaround since I didn't want to have to stab everyone, I'd drop the turret when those fuckers were rushing at me, and then it'd break their shield, and then I would just shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
And that seemed to that worked pretty well. Especially when you had 3 of the melee guys running at you at the same time. Yeah.
Parts of it so far. It is definitely a little loose. Animations don't really connect. Melee is very kind of rigid and target locky. It is not a fine-tuned combat experience. Ooh.
Yeah, that's tough. Oh.
Okay.
Well, it's a huge thing in the Dune lore too. The swords, right? Like that's like a major part.
It's a major, like, melee combat is in the, like, that's the Dune universe. Guns are not the primary.
Okay. So I feel like with melee being the most janky, that it probably should have been
The focus.
Yeah, way more
but
fleshed out.
It's harder to, I think, do that in that you know, in a game setting, though, to make it more melee oriented, you know?
I don't
Especially
know,
in a world as big as that is.
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like I said, I feel like something as simple as a target lock or a soft aim assist with the swing would have been better. And you said you felt it. I didn't feel it, but maybe it should have been stronger then. Because I feel like I didn't feel it at all. Because I could be right next to him, and I would literally, like, aim one way, swing, and then try to readjust and swing the other way. You were playing mouse and keyboard, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we had to bust out our melee weapon and use a slow attack on her to get through her shield. Okay. I thought that the Funcom jank would override the Dune vibe. That was what I assumed. Because, you know, I'm an Anarchy Online player. I've been with Funcom a long time. But I got to admit, this feels good. Like it feels like, as a Dune fan, I really like being able to run around in this world. And it actually, like, mechanics are pretty specific, and, you know, kind of like the sun stuff and the water stuff, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, I'm digging it. It is a
like I said, first game I've ever played where I can't wait till nighttime.
They can focus on, you know, the stuff they.
What'd you say?
I said it's the first game I've ever played where I can't wait until the nighttime cycle.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. The worm is less active, I'm pretty sure, at nighttime, too. At least that's what it feels like.
Yes, I didn't notice that, but maybe so.
I feel like there were many breaches during the day from the worm, but at nighttime, you didn't hear it as much.
Yeah, that's true.
They like the lore, the building, the quests, and stuff like that. I think it'll be.
Hey, the big worm's got to sleep, too. You know?
That's right.
Big worm's got to sleep,
gets tired of chasing us all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine. But I'm not quite sure, and I haven't been to it yet, but I'm not really quite sure how the game's kind of big shining features, this kind of large scale PvP stuff, I'm not really sure how it's going to feel in this system. I'm looking forward to trying it, but I have to admit, so far I feel like it might be more frustrating than fun. Especially if you get to the point where you're like invested in it, and then you have like a dumb death because like of an animation not lining up or something. Like that's a quick way to get me personally to stop playing.
Definitely going to be dumb deaths, 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
There is going to be a janky death where motherfuckers
game.
are going to rage so hard.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's as bad as like a server lag. So like, I don't even feel like that's
not wrong. You're not wrong. As long as it's not too common.
Yeah, if it's an every instance thing, then yeah, it's a problem. But
yeah, because I can just relate it to Once Humans PvP. They had a couple zones that were like you could join a PvP server, or you just had a couple zones that were PvP, like these events and stuff, and it was like you'd have a jellyfish on your head. But most of the time when those happened, it'd be so fucking laggy you couldn't do anything. So I'm hoping that this game figures it out with the server-wide PvP, and everyone's kind of, you know.
Yeah, well, I still have my doubts about how well the PvP is going to work with 1,000 fucking people in a PvP zone.
Where did you hear 1,000 people?
Joel Baez said it himself
Oh, really?
in one of the dev interviews. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with helicopters and shit, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
tanks, helicopters,
man.
all that shit. It's gonna be fucking wild.
I hope it works.
That's Cohh, dude. He does look like Dylan though.
PvP game. But we're gonna see, and I will say that the parts that I played so far, which I've done no PvP yet, have
Actually,
been
you know what? I can
enjoyable
see Dylan
and
looking
have
like
been
that when
something
he's
that I
older.
can kind of like dive
Yeah,
into.
I can
And as
see
a
it.
Dune fan, I've read the first couple books, loved
Aaron,
them.
you on tonight?
It is cool being in this world. Final thing, by the way, before we go, do want to let you know this is an alternate universe Dune. So in this universe, the big man himself, Paul, was not born. So this is a different take. It's the same players, but in a different situation. We're not really sure if this is like a multiverse thing or if this is somehow going to like tie back to the movies and stuff. We don't know, but does add an interesting perspective to it. So don't go in expecting
I have no idea what
to,
that means.
you know, be riding sandworms with Paul. That's not quite what we're doing yet right now. So that's where we are right now. Again, very early thoughts. I've only played it for a few hours.
I don't know what that
I am
means.
planning on diving in more this
I need to watch the movies, I think.
We're in a weekend test right now that I got an access to. And if I have any more to add, I might, or this may be it until we check it out later. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.
I have no idea who Paul is
What's the
or
guy
what that
with the blue
means.
moan?
Is the
He's the
main
guy?
character. He's the main. He's like he becomes a god.
Oh, he becomes a god.
Yes.
So spoiler alert? Is that a spoiler for the movie?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You're gonna learn that real quick anyway.
So he's the guy and he's not alive here. He's not him
Yeah,
in this.
Yeah. So this is a alternate.
Are we
universe
him, do you think?
with-
Do you think we're him?
Basically. No, that's like what it is. Like it's an alternate universe where he wasn't born and you're supposed to be like the savior of the Fremen and not him.
Ah. Okay.
But basically
Alright.
everything is the same except him.
Okay. Oh, dude. Yeah, I was looking for videos. Listen, doesn't this sound like AI already? This sounds like AI.
Arrakis. This weekend, I immersed myself in the beta of Dune Awakening, Funcom's ambitious survival MMO set in the iconic Dune universe. After a 9-hour journey through its dunes,
This dude just
here
sounds
is
like you
my
put a script in
comprehensive take.
AI.
I'd rate
He really
Dune
does.
Awakening a solid sources in survival gathering.
I'm not doing that one. I just thought that one was funny.
Welcome, fellow travelers of Arrakis. Today, I'm diving deep into my experience with the Dune Awakening beta. This isn't just a surface level review. I want to walk you through what pulled me in, what pushed me out, and the So, what I loved so far. First thing was the immersive atmosphere. One of the standout aspects of Dune Awakening is how
they got to
alive
build
world
a buggy?
feels. Yeah, the NPCs. can be
Yeah,
somewhat,
some people got to build
but
it.
there is.
I guess if you went to that one area with the where we got that stuff from, you would get enough parts over time to basically be able to dismantle it and then put it back together. Yeah.
Right.
you know, some life to it.
Yeah.
The sound design, visual scale of the desert, and small environmental storytelling details build a convincing picture of life on Earth walking around, which is a super cool little thing, right? Even during the slower moments, I found myself pausing just to look around at the world.
Fuck
You
y'all.
get that sense of isolation and danger, just like you'd expect from the Dune universe. It doesn't feel like a set. It feels like a place, a world. The team that had built this game, Funcom and whatnot, have done a pretty good job with capturing Arrakis. You know what I mean? I'm a huge Dune fan in terms of like the lore and whatnot, and love the movies and all that. And it's nice to be able to play the game with an
Am I the
open
only one who's
world.
never
Other than
seen the
survival
fucking
games.
movie?
The elements are genuinely
Yeah,
intense in the
pretty
best
much.
way. Managing hydration isn't just a number
I mean,
ticking down.
dude.
It's a real threat you have to plan your routes around. Crafting
Yeah.
still suits to survive.
Hydration
in the
is the
sun,
hardest thing in this. And
extracting water from enemies,
actually, I'm not gonna
and
lie. Once we got the blood shit down, bro, you could just look. Realistically,
Yeah, it wasn't bad once we did that.
you go to
And the
one of
leader,
those little
John,
bases with the level 2 thing. There's like 10 enemies there. You go there with like 4 blood bags, fill all the blood bags up, deposit it into the blood things, and it flows through. You build 2 of those things. Building 2, look, no. Building 2 normal blood purifiers is better than just putting it in 1 and waiting. Build 2, maybe 3
Yeah,
if you're
but-
farming them.
Honestly, the dew sickle with the leader John was just as effective too.
It actually wasn't that bad once you got into it and you knew exactly what you were
Yeah.
doing. Like, and it didn't take long to understand it.
Right.
It just seemed so scarce at the beginning. But if you just have a room full of those things just pumping, yeah, you're chilling.
Oh yeah. You're
You're
fine.
chilling.
Dodging deadly sandstorms gives every excursion.
The Sandstorms thing is pretty cool because you could be on a fucking mission outside and then all of a sudden you just have to stop everything you're doing and go find shelter.
Yep.
That is
Yeah.
a pretty cool
Yeah, you don't
aspect.
have a choice.
Yeah, exactly. Because that is something that I haven't experienced in a game before. Where you just
Yeah.
have to literally stop what you're doing and,
Figure it the fuck out.
yeah, get shelter.
An
I like
edge of
that.
your seat tension. It
And it's
pulls you
nice
into
that
the
there
world
is,
and
like,
forces
natural shelter in the world. That's
Yes,
not like
yes.
you're forced to go
I
back
was
to
gonna say,
your base
I
or something
easily
like
found
that.
some stuff where it was like, oh, you're just in a little overpass,
Yeah.
and you could just tuck in there and you're fine. You're fully sheltered.
you
You're
to
gonna be
think
safe.
like a
exactly.
family.
See, that's what I'm curious. I wish they did beta on some of the PvP and some of these late game things because in Once Human, I just relate to Once Human because it just reminds me a lot of Once Human. They had a beta for the beginning, right? You basically, the same thing they did here. You had a beta for the beginning, you got through the first, couple tiers of things, and it was all fine. It was, obviously that needed some polishing too, but that was pretty good. But then once we got further and further into late game, things ended up being more and more janky. The quests were more janky. Some of the walls weren't as good. Some of the vehicles were a little bit more buggy than the early game ones. So
Yeah.
I'm worried, not saying they're anything like Once Human, but
You think because they haven't pressed it as much that it could be
I don't
have
know.
issues?
Yes, I believe so. Just based off of some of the
definitely
jankiness we've seen at
possible.
the beginning, I'm worried about these helicopters a little bit. Honestly,
Yeah.
the vehicles wasn't bad though. I didn't really experience anything bad with the vehicles. The
I
driving
thought
was
the
pretty
vehicles
good.
were great.
Yeah, the driving was pretty good.
The sand bike was not.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'm just hoping that, well, like for example, in Once Human, like those first game dungeons were pretty different as well. A lot of the environment was different. Not a lot of copy and
Yeah.
paste. Once you got late
Yeah.
game, you noticed copy and paste. So I'm hoping that this stays consistent with the late game stuff. We don't see a lot of copy and paste because that would suck. And I really want to see these
Well, I
helicopters
mean-
fly. I haven't seen any footage of helicopters flying.
Oh, I have. It's
You
actually
have?
fucking awesome. Oh yeah, look it. You can do it. Look it up right now.
Well, hold on. I want
You
to finish
can
this
you
one.
can watch that shit. Yeah, it's fucking cool as shit.
I'm just hoping that
They
yeah,
did
once
it
we get
at
further
the,
into the late game, that things kind of stay where they're at. Because yeah, I mean, if you're
Yeah.
talking high scale PvP like this, man,
Yeah, I just worry. I just more so worry about, like we were talking about, when you have helicopters and sand
Yeah.
bikes and tanks and stuff, and then 1,000 people potentially.
yeah, and like, how is a helicopter
the
going
issue.
to? Do these helicopters have missiles?
Yes,
So that's gonna be fucking
Well,
crazy.
it's one of the features you can put on it. Like, you know how you have the booster pack, and then
Yeah,
you know, so, like,
yeah.
that's one of the options. Yeah.
The gameplay rewards
Point is, I just wish they would have done some more beta testing, or at least a open one with this. Like they're doing it here, and if we're already experiencing this jank, I think some late game beta testing could have been beneficial. But we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
probably.
see.
caution.
Well,
preparation,
the-
and habitat.
Unlimited beta testers do have access to it.
Okay, yeah, but that's my point. Is the unlimited beta testers have access to everything, and yet we still experience some jank in the beginning that probably shouldn't be there. So
Yeah. Which is probably why they delayed it.
yeah, true.
For example, moving to the second zone where the iron spawns and whatnot, you have to have a sand bike because you won't make the crossing unless you have that vehicle. It's very dangerous, right? The other
Right.
thing I like is the promising PvE and PvP systems. Even in the beta, there's a clear foundation for a strong blend of PvE and PvP. The missions are challenging enough to keep you engaged. Yeah, they could be a little better, but it is the beta, and I can foresee them actually putting effort into this game.
I don't know if that's a good excuse, saying that the missions, like, what do you say?
What?
PvE and PvP. The missions are challenging enough to keep you engaged. Yeah, they could be a little better.
The missions are challenging enough to keep you engaged. Yeah, they could be a little better. They're not going to get better than what they are right now, even if it's being a beta. It's not as though they're going to change how the missions flow going into the real
Yeah,
game.
but I mean,
But
the
it is
missions
the
are
beta,
not
and
what
I
anybody
can
cares
foresee them
about in
act-
this type of game. To be perfectly honest,
But it's
just
the
truth.
PvE though. It's the PvE, and the PvE. I thought the PvE was generally fine.
Yeah, I did too.
And and you could tell the mobs would randomly spawn, because sometimes I would go to those bases and they would have like 4 melee guys coming at me, and
Yep.
other times I wouldn't have a single shielded character there. So you know it's random
Right.
mob spawns, which is good.
Yep.
Actually putting effort into this game, which I appreciate. and there's just enough enemy variety to make encounters unpredictable.
Yeah, enemy variety. Yeah.
PvP isn't fully live yet, but the idea of faction-based conflict for spice territory has a ton of potential. I can see guilds forming, politics emerging, and whole servers shifting based on player-driven control of resources.
Yes.
It's ambitious, and if balanced right, it could be...
That's the other big thing we were talking about yesterday. Is
Yeah.
if the
That's what we were talking
servers
about.
are going to shift off rip. Like if your whole server is what is it, Harkonnen or whatever?
Harkonian or Atreides.
If your whole server is like 75% and within those first 2 weeks your team ends up getting destroyed because the majority of the servers on the other squad, well, those players aren't just going to keep getting destroyed. You know, if
That's
more
true,
people
yeah.
can't join and switch squads, like, why? That's the other thing is like, if
But I also
new
think
players
it'll
aren't joining
shift.
these servers and switching squads, like,
I think it'll shift based on the way some of these guilds decide to play as well.
yeah. Well, what'll probably end up happening is it'll be a lot of servers at first. Then once the players start to die down, there will be server merges, and when the servers merge, and then you'll have like a more diverse, you know. Hopefully, when it gets to that point, they merge, and it's like, okay, well, we took we're gonna call them A team and H team. An A team server, mix them with an H team server, then you have more of like a 50-50 split type of thing, you know? That would be, because off rip, dude, you're gonna have the people dropping out of servers just because that they're not in the majority. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But that will probably be fine because the servers will merge. Like, people aren't gonna stick around and play this forever.
Well,
At
they
least
might,
majority of
how
people.
good the Deep Desert is.
Well, yeah, but this is a game for people who like know what they're getting into. Like, you're not gonna get your average Call of Duty player to come play something like this for a long period of time. You're not gonna get your average like just casual gamer to play this for a long period of time.
You get your casual MMO player to play it a lot.
Yeah, but a lot
lot,
of people are
because
going to
it
try
is-
this at the beginning and then move on to something else after a period of time, and then you'll have a couple of people stick around.
Yeah, well, that's every game.
Yeah, of course.
genre defining. Now, there are some areas of improvement. I did have some issues with the game myself.
Did you? I had
a lot
no
of
issues. I'm gonna be honest, no issues at all.
Friends that we played with did as
I
well.
had no
We had
issues.
a guild,
Climbing,
of a
perfect.
good amount of people testing this game, and we played through.
Okay, for real though, how the fuck did they mess up the climbing that bad in Unreal 5? Like, Unreal 5 is
gonna be honest
so
with you,
good, dude.
We didn't have the same experience climbing.
Dude, you used a grapple everywhere. That doesn't count.
What do you, I still climbed.
Yeah, but not as much as somebody without a grapple.
Well, use a grapple.
Well, yeah, but
I'm
I already said
thing was nice as shit.
that Laura Croft shit, the handlebars movement.
Yeah, that's totally.
That just needs to go. That needs to go. Nobody's using that action for anything. Why do we have that? What is possible? Unless they have it in like some endgame raid stuff where you need to do that. There's no fucking way that that's a normal activity happening in this game that we need that animation. No way. And I feel like that's causing a bit of jank. That should be gone. Wipe it. Take it out. Take it out.
Yeah, I mean, it is unnecessary.
Entire beta. Everything that the beta had to offer, we did it. We got all the way to like the sand buggy, everything. The one thing that was the main gripe of my group was that melee combat needs refinement. It feels clunky. Targeting enemies is frustrating, especially in close quarters. The lack of a lock-on system really hurts the experience. Turning what could be fluid, cinematic fights into something that feels floaty and imprecise. In a world with sword masters and high-stakes duels, that system needs to shine. Right now it doesn't. Adding a basic lock-on feature just for melee could change that drastically. The other issue
I don't
that
know
my
if
group
lock-on's
had
the
was
answer. Aim
graphics and
assist.
cutscene issues. It's a beta. We all understand that, and it's not perfect yet.
What is happening on this guy's screen right now? Is this worm getting the plane? What the fuck?
It's great that they did a large-scale beta because they're getting a lot more feedback, right? But there were moments in cutscenes where the models would pop in and out, animations would freeze, or textures would bug out completely. Like,
I didn't have any. Did you have any problems in the cutscenes?
None.
I had no problems in the cutscenes. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I had a single problem in a cutscene.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I
the
don't.
ground for me,
Not one that I
was
noticed at
completely
least.
gone. People were floating. It's on my live stream on Twitch. Just look up.
And I was playing on medium settings too. And
Yeah, I think I was
lower
medium as
settings
well.
normally run into more problems, is what I'm saying. I was running on medium settings, and I
game if you want to go see it. It pulls you out of what should
he's
be
fucking
major
dead.
story
yeah, GG.
moments. I'm sure they'll clean it up.
Oh yeah, look, theirs is different. Defeated by crossing sandworm. Ours was, what was ours? What was ours called?
Growler.
Growler. Ours was called Growler.
Launch, but it's worth mentioning. The world looks great during gameplay, but those cutscenes, hiccups, need to be ironed out if the devs want to deliver an immersive cinematic story. Lastly, that my group kind of had a gripe for was the content feels a bit dry for now. I know it's early access and we don't have access to the full breadth of the game yet, but after several hours, the gameplay loop does start to feel.
No, this is just because we don't have access to everything, and everything's easy as fuck to farm. Once we get to that late game stuff where shit's actually hard to do, and you need that fucking palladium ingot or that fucking like super diamond metal, like that's when it's gonna be hard, because you're gonna actually have to go out and farm this rare resource, and
it's gonna be a fight and a grind against everybody.
Yeah. Well, exactly. They're probably gonna have like PvP resources. Well, maybe not PvP, but probably easier to access if you do PvP rather than just PvP.
Right. Well,
but
which
those
Spice
resources,
is the main one of those as well.
and then you're going to find that you're, not being able to finish all the quests or all the building stuff as quick as possible. You're going to be grinding for that last piece of armor that you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically
I'm not worried about the
is
dryness of where we got to right now. That's expected. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If it's the exact same at Endgame, then yeah, they have a problem. But I would be very surprised if they already did a survival game before this. I don't know what the Endgame was like.
Yeah, Conan Exiles was a big ass game.
But people loved that
Still
game.
popular.
Yeah, those people loved that game. So I'm assuming that they understand that Endgame loop has to be difficult. Otherwise, people will drop off.
Yep.
Feel a little bit dry. Quests tend to repeat. Resource collection can feel like busy work, and some zones lack variety. That said, the bones are strong with more.
I wonder, are they gonna have I wonder if there's gonna be like late game tools. I should have gone through the
they already
tree
said
a
that.
little bit more. But are there gonna be tools to like quickly gather resources?
Yes. It's upgraded versions and legendary versions of what we already have.
Get the fuck out of here. But like, is it like, okay, the cutter, like, does it just give you more yield? Is it just...
It's more yield and faster yield.
Oh yeah, duh, we already did. We got like a Mark II and shit. That's right.
Yeah.
There's not any like automated resource gathering, is there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Probably not, because you don't really need.
You're talking
that
about
much.
like Pal World automation type shit?
Not to that extent, but
No, not where
somewhat.
somebody gathers it for you, but like where you can basically get a quarry or something.
Where
at
I
your
could,
base.
where I could set up like a fucking miner,
I don't think there's
like
anything
satisfactories
like
type shit. You know what I mean?
that. To my knowledge, there's not.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why there's a lot of nodes around in those areas. All right.
Yeah.
more dynamic events, more NPC interactions, and faction drama. This
Yes, I said early game events, dude. They need early game public events. In that first zone, imagine if like there was those downed ships, right? Imagine if there was a downed ship, but all of a sudden something came across the intercom for everybody. It was like, attention, if you're in the area, there's a downed ship, everyone go and attack, they're being overrun. Like, bro, and then you got like, you ran there with your squad, and then there's other squads coming in, and this other squad's coming in, and y'all are fighting to get the loot first or some shit. Like, bro, there should be way more like public events in the beginning. Well, there should be just some public events in the beginning.
Oh, I think it should be everywhere, all the servers.
Well, yeah. Like I said, I don't know how it's gonna be endgame, obviously, but I feel like that was definitely lacking in the beginning. There's not a reason to interact with other people outside of your group right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see one, don't get me wrong. Yeah, there's VoIP. You could talk to them, but there's not a reason otherwise to be like, hey, buddy, can you?
The PvP ships. That's the only other things where you interact with others.
Yeah, but everyone's gonna speed run through those. I feel like if there was this early game like public things that was like, oh, you could get a fucking sweet ass blueprint from this.
Yeah.
Oh, then everyone's gonna bum rush those. Like, we would already know about those there. There'd be a bunch of videos being made like, you guys need to bum rush these event ships that come down when the game comes out to get the best blueprints early game. Get these 4 blueprints early game. And make sure you get them quick with your team so you guys can be the best and quickly accelerate to the steal. Or some shit. Motherfuckers will be bum rushing that, bro.
Yep.
This could become something truly
That's alright.
addictive.
That's alright.
Right now, though, it's still waiting to be filled out. Some things that I saw.
I didn't hear you till it was too late. I went down because I thought you had
my
it.
own experience and kind of looking into the broader community, there was a few reoccurring points that stood out to me. The player base as a whole
Those guys are fucking
has an issue
toast.
with the combat flow. Many players agree that melee combat lacks weight and control. Some even noted hit registration issues. The other is technical instability, crashes related to shader compilation.
I didn't have
FPS
that.
drops in hubs like Arakeen.
The only FPS
I had a
drop I
little-
had was when the couple times when the worm came after me.
Yeah, I didn't have
I had
anything
it there
too
a little bit.
noticeable. I
But
didn't
yeah,
have
it
anything
wasn't
too
bad.
noticeable. I was pretty okay.
Problems are all being reported. PvP integration concerns is the next one. There's excitement for PvP, but also concern over how it might disrupt solo or PvE players if not balanced correctly.
It is balanced. They've
However,
already
there's
shown how it's balanced.
No, but that's what they're saying. They're saying that I saw when they were talking about like the hitting, the left click spam. It was because it was like that because oh yeah, that can work in PvE, but it doesn't work in PvP. So it's like, how do you
but I
integrate
mean,
that
I
into
think-
the game to where you can still do it in PvE but not do it in PvP?
But isn't he's talking about a balancing feature of size, not of what the skills are, right?
problems are all being reported. PvP integration concerns is the next one. There's excitement for PvP, but also concern over how it might disrupt solo or PvE players if not balanced correctly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
However, there's optimism for the lore. Most agree that the lore integration is excellent. The voice acting,
much.
environmental
Yeah.
storytelling, and the divergence from the book.
Like I said, but it was very lore based. Everyone wanted to talk about the lore. Like every person you talked to had a bunch of lines that you could ask them about what the fuck was going on. So that was good. That was
Pretty
good.
much.
People who are Dune lovers, and yeah, they'll definitely enjoy that part of it. They are not going to run into a problem with that at all.
Timeline
That's
are
an A plus. That's an A plus. A 9.8 out of 10 on the lore
all
for
being
sure.
praised.
Oh yeah.
In conclusion, Dune Awakening is a
Well,
game
they're
with a
working
massive amount of
directly
potential.
with
It
the,
nails the setting, atmosphere,
estate
and core mechanics.
of the guy who wrote the
survival and
books,
PvE elements
so
are strong.
they
and
should get
the
that
PvP
fucking right.
promises something truly unique to the genre. But the melee combat needs a serious overhaul. Technical polish is still missing, and the early content needs more spark. Still, I'm having fun with it. I love the game, and that's what matters, right? I'm enjoying it. My friends are enjoying it. And we are planning on building a very large faction on this game once it
Yeah,
launches.
well, I'll overrun you,
We
Cohh.
enjoyed it. And
Yeah, we're gonna fuck them up.
Yeah, we're going to fuck you up.
bunch
these
of
issues
PvP
are polished
oh,
out. Biggest thing is
PvE and
please
little
add
bitches.
a lock-on system for melee combat.
We're going to
Thanks
fuck
for
this
watching
guy
the
up.
review. If you enjoyed it or have your own experiences with the beta, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your take. This is just the beginning of our journey across Arrakis. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night or day.
Or day or whatever it is for you. Real, true, awesome. Yeah, I mean, overall though, game right now, as far as addictiveness,
It's
and
pretty
like
fucking good
willingness to play, addictiveness, terms of grinding, 9 out of 10. In terms of combat, 5 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay, we're close.
It is what it is, but
I think that's
as somebody who can
going
sit
to
and
get
play
better.
Satisfactory with no combat at all, it's literally
Yep.
just building. That's why I can enjoy this. People who are
Yeah.
just coming, you're not going to come to this game and be like, oh yeah, I just want to combat and I don't want to build or experience the story and the lore. Like, you have to have something else besides the combat. Otherwise, nah, you're not going to like this game. If you're only
Yeah,
here
but
for
the
combat,
is only going to get better over time too.
true, but you know, first impressions are everything.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I don't think you're going to lose the base over the combat right now.
No.
Because
No.
the base isn't only interested in the combat.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll have a lot of those guys that are hardcore PvPers that are going to say, fuck this, the combat sucks, but
Yeah.
you're gonna lose them anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, to be honest, look at motherfuckers who still play Rust, dude.
Right. It's janky as fuck. Always
Motherfuckers
has been.
still play Rust.
Yeah, the PvP in Rust is super fucking janky and always has
No,
been.
that whole game is janky. So,
Yeah.
hey, look,
But
if
it's
that
one
game
of a
can.
kind. That's the
Yeah, true,
difference.
true, and it's. I mean, the only reason that game is still going is because it's open to private servers and stuff like that. Overall, I think we'll have fun with this for sure.
Oh,
But I'm definitely gonna fuck this
abso-fucking-lutely.
guy's squad up. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm fucking your squad up, bro, for sure.